Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome into the reset. As always, we are here to soothe, soothing the body, the nervous system, and the mind. We're going to connect to the breath. We're going to do some exercises for the vagus nerve, some acupressure, some self-massage along the way. This is your practice. Move at your own pace. Invitation to freestyle the entire way through. If I invite you to do something in one way, do it in whatever way feels good in your body, and skip anything that doesn't feel good intuitively, physically. I trust that you know your body better than anyone else, but if you're ever unsure, skip it, send me a message, reach out to a specialist, and we'll make sure that it works for you. We want no pain and no strain in these sessions. So when we're putting pressure or moving in a certain way, we can always work our way up. And again, I trust that you know what's tenderness and a pain that might be indicating you to step back. So ideally, this practice is done seated. Find whatever position is comfortable to you in your body. If you need to adjust through the session, give yourself permission to do so. And let's just take a moment to arrive. So ideally seated. If you're lying down, you adjust in any way. And as you're seated here today, maybe just settling into the sits bones and feeling that connection to the earth and just starting there, feeling grounded, feeling supported. And then bringing your awareness to the crown of your head as though someone was pulling a beautiful golden string up towards the cosmos. And thinking of this axis moving through the body, connecting both of those, earth and cosmos above. Let's bring the shoulders up and back. Open up your beautiful heart space. Lift the chin and then tuck in the chin and settle into that nice supportive position. So let's start out today with one exercise for the vagus nerve. As always, we'll get back into the vagus nerve again a little bit later. Super simple. Index finger pad coming to the top groove of the ear, moving to the very front of that groove, and beginning to make some very gentle little circles. More thinking of moving the skin around rather than pushing too hard. Sending sensory input to the vagus nerve, letting the body know we are safe and able to relax. And then very gentle circles in the opposite direction. And already just check in with the breath. How is the breath moving today? Gently releasing whenever you're ready and moving on to the other side. Top groove of the ear with the index finger pad coming to the front of that groove. Very gentle circles in one direction. See if you can make those circles even a little bit more gentle. Whenever you're ready, gentle circles in the other direction. Maybe checking in with the jaw. Can you relax your jaw a little bit more? Whenever you feel ready, releasing the hands down and just allowing a moment for integration. Just noticing any shifting or sensations. Maybe an audible sigh shows up on the exhale. And then speaking of audible sighs, let's really invite in a few. We're going to inhale the shoulders up towards the ears. On an exhale, drop the shoulders down with an audible sigh and release any tension. So inhale, shoulders up, drop them with a big sigh. Let it go. Two more just like that. Inhaling up, drop the shoulders. Big sigh on the exhale. One more. coming back to the natural breath. Let's come to our often first acupressure point, GV20, very top of the crown of the head, pushing in with direct pressure, maybe pushing in with little circles, governing vessel 20, great point to calm the mind and soothe overactive thoughts, also good for the flow of chi. So the very top of the crown of the head, just breathing in here, noticing, relaxing the face a little bit. And we move through things a little bit quick in these sessions because we fit in a lot in an hour or a bit over an hour, but in your own time, you can always do these for a little bit longer. You could do acupressure for up to 2 minutes. On your next exhale, gently releasing the hand down. Let's show a little bit of love to our hands. So starting with exploding fists, tight fists, thumbs on the outside, shooting your fingers out with as much energy as possible, 10 times at your own pace. Ready, set, go. Relaxing the hands down. Let's take one palm up, hold your own hand, extend the arm, and then lift up to shoulder level. A little bit of resistance from the hand that's holding. Arm comes across the body, head to the opposite side, and breathe into that stretch. Again, checking in if you can relax your jaw a little bit. Making sure the shoulders aren't creeping up. Maybe you're inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Slow, controlled exhales. On your next exhale, gently release, slow and steady, coming back to center and switching sides. Palm up, hold your own hand, extend the arm, lift up to shoulder level, arm across the body, head to the opposite side, and breathe. One more deep breath here. On the exhale, coming back to center. Let's give ourselves a nice big morning stretch. Get into the wrists, maybe get into the fingers a little bit, just waking things up. Breathe into that stretch. And then cactus shaping the arms, feeling into the upper back muscles, feeling into the chest. Open up your heart space and relax. Vili's famous thumb stretch, palm up, thumb in the center of your palm, wrap your thumb with your fingers, thumb faces up and then tilts forward. Nice stretch into the wrist, into the thumb, into these tendons, moving into the forearm. Breathe in here. Try to send your inhale into that stretch. Maybe you're taking the other hand and providing some friction, warming things up. Whenever you're ready, gently releasing, moving to the other side, palm up, thumb in the center of your palm, wrap your thumb with your fingers, thumb facing up, tilting forward, breathe into that stretch. Maybe providing some friction. and gently releasing. So I wanted to set a little intention for us, all of us, definitely myself included, to begin to bring a little more awareness to what's going on in our minds, our awareness of thoughts, and perhaps a gentle commitment to reframe when things we're aware of can be reframed in a healthier and more gentle way. So a lot of what goes on in the brain are autonomic processes, things that go on without us even having to think of. But there are two things in the brain that we have much more control over, which is one, our inner dialogue and thoughts. And second is things like worries, predictions, things that we're thinking are going to happen. So two stats I'm going to throw at you. One is that the majority of people, over 80% of their thoughts are negative. Second stat is over 91% of the things that we worry about never happen. So these negative thoughts that we have are not set in stone. They're things we can work at. And these sessions are a really good place to just be aware of our thoughts and invite in a reframe. So if we're trying to keep our mind with our breath and we keep thinking of things, instead of thinking to ourselves, I can't believe I'm thinking again, we can think, okay, it's great. I caught myself thinking in less time than usual. I came back. If it happens again, same thing. So for all of us, just planting this little seed, let's keep watering it to be more aware of our thoughts and to be able to get rid of those negative thoughts that are not hardwired in our brain. We can work on reframing them and being more gentle. So let's start it off today, just connecting to our breath. We are going to inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds. And this is something that I've been doing more and more as I'm trying to connect with diaphragmatic breathing and be really, really aware of how I'm breathing. So I invite you to just move at your own pace, but if it feels good with your flow, we're going to inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds, a number of rounds, staying connected to the breath. You can count it in your head or just move at your own pace. Inhaling for 4. Exhale for 4. Breathe in whatever way feels good, maybe in and out through the nose, maybe in through the nose, out through the mouth. In for 4 and out for 4. Few more rounds, just like that, staying connected to the breath. One more round, in for 4, out for 4. And coming back to your natural breath. I might invite in a few more of those rounds throughout this practice. So in for 4, out for 4, something we're going to keep doing together often. Let's shift our awareness from the breath to the physical body. Again, just becoming aware of that connection to the earth or chair, whatever is supporting your body in this moment, feeling into that. Recognizing that you are being held. And then we're going to do a gentle body scan, moving at your own pace, starting from the top of the head, making your way down to the tips of the toes, just noticing what shows up along the way. And if you come across tension, take a beautiful deep breath, thinking of breathing, healing light into that tension. And on the exhale, inviting that tension to release. And then continuing through the body, body scan, moving at your own pace, top of the head down to the tips of the toes. There could be physical tension, there could be emotional or energetic tension. Just breathing light in, honoring that tension and inviting it to release. Whenever you reach the tips of your toes, bringing your awareness up into the mind and just checking in, how is my mind feeling today? No expectation, no judgment, knowing we are all riding waves of life together. When it is a day that your mind is feeling busy or caught up in a particular narrative, the breath can be a really great tool to bring ourselves a bit out of the mind, back into the physical body. So the 4-4 breath is a good way to do that. Let's welcome in our right here, right now technique today. You're going to take your hands, and on each inhale, you're going to touch each finger to your thumb as you think to yourself, right here, right now. Each exhale, thinking to yourself, right here, right now. And if any other thoughts show up, gently release them without any judgment and return right here, right now, moving at your own pace. 3 more rounds, keeping the mind with that mantra, with the breath. And on your next exhale, gently releasing and bringing the hands down. So as always, let's send some love to our jaw, a place many people have tension or maybe have it and don't even realize it, maybe wake up with tension. I think every single practice will be showing love to our jaw. So let's do that here today, beginning by just opening the mouth wide and stretching the jaw from side to side, noticing what shows up. And then big circles in one direction and the other direction. We're going to take 2 knuckles or 1 knuckle, whatever feels right, in front of the ear and drag down just above the jawbone, above the mandible bone, coming across the masseter, thinking of any tension there melting away. Keep the jaw relaxed. And then moving on to the other side when you're ready, knuckle in front of the ear, dragging down across the masseter, above your mandible. And then you're going to take both knuckles in front of your ear. We're going to come to the zygomatic arch. So your cheekbone is actually your zygomatic bone. And if you follow underneath all the way in front of the ear, you will feel this arch, your zygomatic arch. So you're going to take your index knuckle at the back of the arch, just in front of your ear, and you're going to push in with some pressure and make your way a little bit forward, sticking to that arch. So again, zygomatic arch, index knuckle comes to the back of the arch, closest to the ear, pushing in with some pressure and then moving forward with a bit of pressure. You're not going to move too far forward, but try to stay in that arch. It can be very, very tender. Sure is for me today. A few rounds, index knuckle coming to the back of your zygomatic arch. Push in with some pressure and then make your way forward. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Spicy. Don't let that tenderness show up other places. One more time, pushing in back of the arch. Massaging forward, pushing forward. Now we're going to come in there with the thumb pretty much same place, under the zygomatic arch, just above the mandible, feeling into that groove. Push in with some pressure. Keep that pressure as you open the mouth to full extension, slow and steady as you open and as you close. A couple rounds. Oh, one more. Spicy today. Index and middle finger pads, just massaging over that area. Maybe massaging back and forth between the mandible and zygomatic bone. And then massaging some circles over the temples. And then let's take our thumbs to the temples, and you're just going to massage into your scalp with your fingers. A nice shampoo moment. Moving all over, getting into some nice zones. Let's come to our chin with the thumb. You're going to keep a bit of pressure on the thumb, and you're going to make some resistance as you open for 4 seconds and then close for 4 seconds. So thumb to your chin, keep some resistance, open for 4, more resistance as you close for 4. One more round. Releasing, and then just as we checked in with the jaw, let's do that one more time. Opening wide, stretching side to side. All right, keep making our way down into our neck. Let's come to our SCM as usual, sternocleidoid mastoid. Just massaging down either side. If you're unsure where it is, the bone behind your ear is your mastoid process. It will lead you directly into your SCM, and just massaging in. Invitation to freestyle as always. Maybe taking the muscle and pushing back and forth, mobilizing a little bit. And we're going to come to the connection between your mastoid process and SCM. So bone behind the ear, connecting right underneath where it turns into your SCM. That's where you're going to push in with your thumb. Just check in on your posture here, pushing in and breathing. Again, could be tender. Don't let that tenderness show up as tension. When tenderness shows up, I often breathe in through my nose and out through the mouth. And if it feels okay in your body, gently tilting the head towards the thumb, breathing in. Slow and steady, coming back to center. And then before we move to the other side, let's just take the finger pads from the jaw, massaging down in front of your SCM. We're also connecting to the perihyoid muscles here. So just massaging down in front of your SCM to your clavicle. I have the tendency to get quite red. Don't worry about me. And then when you're ready, moving on to the other side, always moving at your own pace and taking your time. So massaging down either side of your SCM, a little freestyle moment. Do you want to mobilize? Do you want to keep massaging? And then again, coming to this connection just under your mastoid process, pushing in where it connects to your SCM, keeping some pressure and breathing in here. Oh, this is often my tender side, so just being very aware that I'm breathing into it instead of allowing it to move further into the body. Couple more deep breaths here. And then if it feels okay, leaning towards the thumb. Very mindfully coming back up. And again, taking our finger pads, massaging from the jaw, down the neck, in front of your SCM, towards the clavicle. Also really nice for lymphatic flow. And next, we're going to come to our clavicles. So I am on a mission, becoming a pulmonaut, to really help myself and all of us connect to diaphragmatic breathing. And something I noticed I was struggling with was taking a diaphragmatic breath and having tension show up in my chest. And I tried this stretch that we do, but I deepened it and deepened the space, and it seemed to really help. So we're going to start today, as we have a few times in these sessions, hand over the clavicle, holding with some good pressure, the skin and the muscles, starting with the head straight and then tilting the head back and away. Beautiful stretch into the front of the neck here. Breathing in, always mindful with the neck. And then if it feels right, taking the second hand on top, which I find often deepens the stretch. Almost always a yawn shows up for me here as we're connecting to the vagus nerve branch. Breathing in, allow that stretch to deepen if it feels okay in the neck. very slow and steady, coming back, moving to the other side. So hand over the clavicle, holding down with some good pressure. Head starts straight and then tilts back and away. I said vagal branch before. I just meant vagal nerve, but the stretch was too nice to correct myself, so I just kept going. So breathing in here, allow that stretch to evolve. If it feels right, second hand on top. And then mindfully coming back to center. We're going to take both hands pretty much just under the clavicles. So both of them holding down here in the center with some nice pressure. You're putting pressure, you're pulling down a bit, and then you're going to lift up the chin, and then you're going to add in pushing up the jaw. So holding with some pressure, pulling down a bit on the chest, lift the chin, and then include the jaw, pull the jaw up. Breathe in. No pain, no strain. We can always work our way up. Coming back to center. And then I'm going to invite you to play around with that. So what I did the other day was just be under the clavicle and do this in all directions. Lift the chin, push up the jaw, and then move all across that line of the neck. As I did this the other night, I could literally hear connective tissue just snap, crackle, popping and loosening up. So just coming all across the clavicle line, lifting the chin, lifting the jaw, making your way across. When I'm in the center, I lift up, and when I'm on the side, I'm usually tilting to the opposite side. Hold down, lift the chin and the jaw. Always mindful. If it feels like too much, maybe you leave it there for today. And then I did the same thing, a lower level down, really getting into the chest muscles. So holding down, lift the chin, lift the jaw. Feel that nice stretch. Coming back to center with all the time whenever you feel ready. So hopefully for you too, let's take a nice deep couple of rounds of belly breath. We're going to belly, ribs, and chest, the three-part yogic breath. So 3 breaths like that, breathing first into the belly, then the ribs, and then the chest. Hopefully your chest is feeling open and happy. Release out of the mouth. Inhale through the nose, belly, ribs, chest. And once more. Let's do this suboccipital tilt. So taking your thumb pads behind your ear, kind of the mastoid process leading to your occipital. So that ridge going across the back of your skull, if you feel it, is the occipital protuberance. And we're coming just beneath that. So side of the head behind the ear where you can really lock on with your thumb pad on both sides. Take a nice breath. Tilt to one side, and the upper hand is going to push into the bone, creating that stretch a little more deeply. Very mindfully coming back to center, tilting to the other side, pushing into the bone. And coming back to center. We've been spending a lot of time around the clavicles today, but let's come once more. You're going to come to the inner part of your clavicle and push just underneath. You might feel a little bit of a dip there. So under the clavicle, just below, pushing in here with one finger, two fingers, a knuckle, whichever feels right, just under the inner part of the clavicle, kidney 27. You can push in with direct pressure. You can massage in little circles. This is a good point to strengthen immunity, to relax the chest, and also addresses some jaw issues. Kidney 27. Breathe directly into the pressure you're putting in. Maybe involving the head. Direct pressure or little circles, it's up to you. Maybe going back and forth. And then gently releasing and moving to the other side whenever you're ready. Under the clavicle, inside, just underneath, pushing in kidney 27. On your next exhale, gently releasing. Let's show a little bit of love to our arms. Let's massage from elbow to wrist. Experiment here, freestyle. Maybe you're twisting. Maybe you're grabbing the muscle and pulling it away from the bone. Maybe you're getting into this really juicy zone between the bones, your interosseous membrane. Just see what your forearm needs today. And holding around the wrist, giving a little twist. Massaging into the palm of the hand. Starting with the thumb, massaging each finger. And moving to the other side whenever you feel ready, elbow to wrist. Holding the wrist, giving a twist. Massaging into the palm of the hand. Starting with the thumb, each finger. And then once again, just settling in, maybe having a sip of water or a sip of tea before we get back into our vagus nerve. All right. So the vagus nerve is basically like the main switch to our parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, safe and safety, basically the part of the nervous system we want to connect to. So we're going to do a breath which stimulates the vagus nerve and then move into some exercises working directly and indirectly on the vagal branch. Let's welcome in our VU breath. So here we're going to inhale through the nose if that's available to you, and exhale with a VU. We're trying to emulate the sound of a foghorn here. So always moving at your own pace. Inhale through the nose. Exhale with a VU. Feel that vibration. VU. Our rounds just like that. Inhale through the nose. VU on the exhale. Two more. Coming back to the natural breath and just noticing how that shows up in the body. Okay, let's stretch our ears a little bit today. We're just loosening up connective tissue around the vagal branch. You're going to take your thumb behind your ear, index finger inside, a nice wiggle test, get a good hold of your ear, and then stretch directly away from the head and breathe in here. Again, might hear some snap, crackle, pops, some loosening up. That's what we're going for. And then we're going to gently release and think of stretching three parts of the ear. So top, middle, and then lower part. Starting with the top, pulling away, meeting with the fingertips. Again, just loosening up fascia, giving some space, a place that we probably haven't stretched too much in our lives. Middle of the ear. Check in with your breath. Check in with your jaw, lower part of the ear. Little earlobe tug for good luck. Moving on to the other side with zero rush whenever you feel ready. Thumb behind the ear, index finger inside, a nice wiggle test. Have a good hold and then stretch away from the head. Breathe in here. Can you relax your jaw a little bit more? On your next exhale, gently releasing and then stretching and massaging the top of the ear, the middle of the ear, lower part of the ear, earlobe tug for good luck. Relax the hands down, shut down the eyes if that feels safe, and just allow a moment to receive. Noticing any shifting, any sensations. Okay, next we're going to take our index finger behind the ear. On our mastoid process, the bone we've been chatting about, you're going to push with a little bit of pressure and then push up. But this is more at the skin level. So you're not pushing in too deep. You're just giving a little bit of pressure directly behind the ear and then pushing up, and try to relax the body and just breathe in here. More deep breaths. Maybe there's a point where a little bit of release happens, Maybe not, that's okay too. Maybe a yawn shows up. And then let's just gently relax for a moment. Give the hand a little break. And then we're going to come back to the same spot, same thing, but this time we're going to pull down. So finger behind the ear, get a connection there, and then pull down with a bit of gentle pressure and breathe. Releasing whenever you're ready. Little break for the hand. And then if there's still enough power to hold the arm up, same place. This time you're going to think of pushing kind of to the back of the skull. So keeping that same pressure behind the ear, still just at skin level, and pushing back. Good place to check in on the jaw. Good place to check in on your posture. It's raining so much outside. I always love when that happens in these sessions. Releasing whenever you're ready. Let's add a little bonus of taking our V fingers. So index behind, other three fingers in front, and a few times just rubbing up and down. And then moving to the other side whenever you are ready. So index finger behind the ear, a little bit of pressure, pushing up, more just moving the skin up, I guess. Oh, didn't realize these are going to make me yawn so much today. On your next exhale, or whenever feels right, gently release, little hand wiggle, same place, index finger behind the ear, and this time pulling down. Releasing whenever you're ready. One little shake out, one more round behind the ear, and then just kind of following back towards the back of the skull. A few deep breaths here. Releasing whenever you're ready. V fingers behind the ear. Few rounds of massaging up and down. And then we sure deserve some integration time. So relaxing the hands, shutting down the eyes, and just receiving. I hadn't done those behind the ear in a while and wasn't expecting them to be as powerful as they felt for me today. So that feels good. Let's do our pinching the ridge of the ear, but for the sake of time, let's do both at the same time. You can't always do these both together. I like to split them up, but Just to sneak in one more. So this ridge across the middle of the ear, you're going to pinch with your thumb and index on both sides and begin to just wiggle up and down. And back and forth. And then figure eights. Little wiggle for good luck. Relax the hands down whenever you feel ready and just breathe. Can you relax your jaw a little bit more? Let's shift into a bit more acupressure. Let's come to stomach 3 today. Taking the thumbs just under the cheekbones, and you can push in here, you can lean in, a combination of both. Third point on the stomach meridian, also known as the beauty point, good for circulation in the face. It can have benefits for particular kinds of knee pain or tooth pain. Just breathing in here, relax the shoulders, relax the jaw. Maybe you're still yawning. Again, direct pressure or little circles or a combination of both. Releasing the hands down whenever you feel ready. And let's come to lung 10. So the center of your thumb pad is where you're pushing in. I like to use my other thumb, but the center of your thumb pad, lung 10, pushing in here, breathing in. Ooh, tender for me today. This is a good point for all things to do with the lungs, cough, asthma. But as we've spoken about it here, the negative emotion of the lungs is that of grief. So whenever we're working with the lung meridian, we can always think of honoring and sending love to grief and inviting it to release from the body. Lung 10, very center of the thumb pad. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. This is an easy one to sometimes crunch in on ourselves. So open up that beautiful heart space and breathe in here. Two more deep breaths here. On your next exhale, releasing, maybe massaging over the thumb pad once, and then moving to the other side. Center of your thumb pad, your thenar eminence, pushing in and breathing. Broadening the collarbones, opening up your heart space, sending love to whatever shows up. Direct pressure or little circles, whatever feels good. Whenever you feel ready, gently releasing. Let's make our way down. Let's come to stomach 36. So coming to your knees, the outer lower edge of the knee, measuring down 4 finger widths and pushing just outside your tibia, outside your shin bone. So coming to the knees, outer lower edge of the knee, measuring down 4 finger widths and pushing just outside the tibia. You might be able to feel a little bit of depression. That's exactly where we want to be. Stomach 36, good for an immunity boost, for an energy boost, digestive issues. As always, direct pressure or little circles. And check in with your body position. Are you caving in and then pushing in for muscles that are compensating? Or do you have a beautiful supportive spine and you can lean in a bit with your body weight? Breathe into the sensations that show up. Breathe into any tenderness. And then stay on that spot, but approach it with your pinkies. So fists with your hands, and then with the pinky side, knocking directly on that spot. And then let's come down to liver 3. So let's start by massaging between all the metatarsals of our toes. So finding these grooves between the toes and massaging down. So between the big toe and the second toe, and then between each toes. Mine's pretty tight. I haven't done this in a long time. So if it's hard to find those grooves, just give yourself some patience, but maybe come back and see if we can deepen these grooves, break up that connective tissue a little bit and give some more space. And then coming to this initial groove, big toe, second toe, feeling up between your first and second metatarsals and pushing in at that top of that groove before where you feel those bones connect. Pushing in and breathing in here, liver 3. Negative emotion of the liver is anger. So if you've got some anger, some stuck emotions, some stagnant energy, this is a great place to come to. Breathe in, invite those things to release on the exhales. Check in with your body position. On your next exhale, gently releasing and again massaging down all of these grooves between your toes, above your toes, between your toes. Oh, that felt very needed. Let's move on to the other side. So again, feeling between the metatarsals, between the big toe and second toe, and then making your way across the foot, pushing out towards the toes. If it's tender, show it love, maybe back off a little bit. And then this groove between the big toe and index toe, we're going to feel our way up, top of that groove in front of where the bones connect. Push in and breathe in here, checking in on your body position. Beautiful supportive spine, leaning forward. Use your body weight. Breathe into tenderness, sending your liver love, king of the organs, the organ of spring. So we will definitely be doing a liver session soon. Few more deep breaths here. And then again, massaging down that groove and all the grooves between your metatarsals. And let's show our feet some love. So starting by just massaging into your arches. Maybe you're walking with the thumbs and noticing if there's a tender zone that you want to hang out at for a little bit extra time, a little trigger point that shows up. Again, use your body weight, lean in rather than pushing. I'm always really reminding myself when I catch myself and then sharing that with you all. So I think by the end of the year, we won't need any more reminders. We'll just be super supported. Coming to whichever foot is calling first, invitation to freestyle or follow. I'm going to massage down each toe, 5 meridians starting from the toes. Massage into the sole of the foot and the ball of the foot and the heel. If you are someone who has some trouble falling asleep at night, giving yourself a nice foot rub before bed, I highly recommend bath and then foot massage. Few vagus nerve exercises. And call in sleeping like a baby. Showing some love to the heel. And then taking the foot and twisting, feeling into the many, many bones of the foot. If twisting doesn't feel right, then experiment with a different kind of pressure or technique. I like to clamp down and squeeze towards the toes. And then holding the foot, grabbing the toes, circles in one direction. Can you relax your jaw a little bit more? Circles in the other direction. Holding around the ankle, big circles with the entire foot. Other direction. Point the toes, stretch the top of the foot. Flex, fist with the other hand, knocking into the sole of the foot and coming to the other side. So massaging down the base of each toe. Massaging into the sole of the foot, a ball of the foot, and the heel. Grabbing the foot and twisting or experimenting. Clamping down and squeezing towards the toes. Holding the foot, grabbing the toes, circles in one direction. And the other direction. I'm going to read that comment in 1 second. Holding the ankle, big circles with the entire foot. Circles in the other direction. Point the toes, stretch the top of the foot. Flex, fist with the other hand, and knocking all over. Let's show some love to our calves. So I like to squeeze and roll outwards in massage. We are always staying off the bone. For me here, the most pressure is with my thumbs, really getting into the calf muscle, making the way down. Then I like to take the thumbs really close to the bone, push in and a little bit in towards myself. So thumbs close to the bone. Again, we're just always trying to create space and loosen up connective tissue and fascia. So walking down the bone, maybe walking back up. And then coming behind the calf, taking the thumbs and thinking of pulling your calf muscle apart. Be walking down the calf doing that. Grab your calf, give it a wiggle, and coming to the other side, maybe squeezing and rolling outwards. Again, using your body weight. Thumbs close to the bone, pushing in, walking down, maybe walking up. Behind the calf, taking your thumbs and pulling your calf muscle apart. Holding your calf, a little wiggle. And then fists with the hands, knocking up the inside and the outside of the legs. Get that circulation going. Get that chi flowing outside as well. And once more, coming back to our most comfortable position. Feeling that connection to the earth. One hand to belly, one hand over your heart space, just tuning in. And as you sit here expressing to yourself something you're feeling grateful for in this moment, whatever shows up for you. So grateful for you all. Thank you for sitting with me. Hope to sit together soon. So much love.